Welcome to Trojan Sports Now. I'm Sarah Drake.
And I'm Briana Jones. Stick around as we bring you the latest news and scores from Troy Athletics.
Wednesday saw the Trojans adding 5 additional student athletes to its already loaded recruiting class, making a total of 20 new additions for the team and ranking this overall recruiting class as the highest in Troy University history. National Signing Day is traditionally a day where high school seniors sign a binding national letter of intent with a school of their choosing for a collegiate sport. But with an early signing period being put in place this year, the Trojan football team already had 15 players for this year's recruiting class. But on Wednesday, head coach Neil Brown added some new additions to comprise the highest-rated signing class in Troy history.
Tremendous day for our program as we add 5 guys to what I feel like was a tremendous signing class in December as well. I think this all together is probably the best class that we've been able to put together here over our 4 years, and filled some significant needs in our program.
On Wednesday, the Trojans added 2 safeties, a tight end, a wide receiver, and a defensive tackle in what Brown called a big Alabama-flavored recruiting class.
Able to get guys from all our home, what we deem our home areas. Will Cholo, a talented kid, defensive tackle-wise. Was as good as anybody we had in our camps last year at the defensive line position. Demontrez Brown, A.J. Lewis was a huge position of need for us at tight end, and he's a guy that can come in and play right away. And then T.J. Harris from Lee County, physical safety, and then Will Sunderland transferred from Oklahoma. Again, somebody that has versatility in the secondary.
In this recruiting class, Brown and his staff also added 2 transfer students in Will Sunderland, who played at Oklahoma, and Louisville wide receiver Trayvon Sanders.
We feel like that Will's going to have a great opportunity to come here and be productive and finish up his academics as well. Travion Samuel, a grad transfer from Louisville, comes from one of the best programs in the state. If you look, he's highly productive. Highly productive. Also, we needed an older guy in that room, and he's going to come in, and they were really, really good on offense over the course of the last 3 years at the University of Louisville. So he's going to be able to set the standard in that room.
The Trojans will kick off the 2018 season against the Boise State Broncos on September 1st in Veterans Memorial Stadium.
It was a good weekend for Trojan basketball fans as both the men's and women's basketball teams swept South Alabama on Saturday. Fans waited long enough for a longtime Troy rival to arrive at Trojan Arena. On Saturday evening, the South Alabama Jaguars brought some animosity to the court against the Trojan women's basketball team. Even with the Trojans having home court advantage, the Jaguars came and attacked. The Trojans started the game only scoring 3 of 20 field goals, leaving freshman Jasmine Robinson to give the team a push with her 9 points in the third quarter.
We're such a young team, and going through this past year has been amazing. I've been learning so much from my team, and my coach has been teaching me everything.
After Jasmine's points, the Jaguars answered back with a 17-7 run, but the Trojans then took over the game in the fourth quarter and never looked back. Head coach Chandler Rigby calls this win showing some real Trojan spirit.
We did not start the game out well, but we did not quit. I thought it was a win that reflected the true Trojan spirit. It's not how you start, it's how you finish. Nobody got down. We couldn't buy a basket. We shot 13% in the first quarter. It did not deter anybody on our team. We kept fighting, and then in the end, things fell our way.
The Trojans sealed the deal with a big help from Sunbelt Player of the Week, Kayla Robinson. Robinson scored a career high of 28 points and 11 rebounds, which makes her third double-double game in the last 4 games.
The first half, it wasn't really going well for me. I never gave up, though, and my teammates never gave up on me, so I just kept fighting to the end. We just had to keep shooting. We knew eventually they was going to fall. We knew if the first half they wasn't going to fall, the second half they was definitely going to fall. We've been down before. We never gave up, and we always came back and came out with a victory, and that's what we had to keep doing and keep it up.
And that's exactly what the Trojans got, a victory. The final score of the game was 82-71, and that calls for a little celebration.
And the men kept the momentum rolling with a big win over the Jags in Game 2. The men's basketball team swept the season series against South Alabama with an 80-63 victory in Trojan Arena Saturday night. The game also featured the highest crowd attendance in Trojan Arena history for a Sun Belt game, and head coach Phil Cunningham said the team needed this win.
It was a game that we really needed to get. We needed to get back in the win column, and it was such a tremendous crowd. The first thing that hits you when you walk out and see that crowd like that is, we've got to win. We got to win today to take care of this crowd and try to get them back. But just really good win for us, one we needed moving forward to try to get some momentum going.
Cunningham also explained why he believes Alex Hicks' first half foul trouble helped him be the freshest player on the court in the second half.
They have trouble with Alex because Alex is so long and he's so efficient around the basket. In the second half, his foul trouble in the first half became his advantage because I thought down the stretch he was the freshest guy on the court. I thought both teams were really tired. Even though we had a bye week, I thought both teams were tired, but Alex was fresh and he made some plays. They could have got back in the game. He kept it from happening.
Kevin Baker, who's usually a starter, came off the bench for Saturday's game, and Coach Cunningham said he doesn't believe the team would have won if it wasn't for him.
A guy who came off the bench and really played well for us, I thought was the difference in the game, was Kevin Baker. He had great numbers, had I think 11 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 turnovers. And he'd been through some adversity, and he handled it well. And he was, I don't think we win the game if he doesn't come in and play like he did.
In the early game of the Red Wolf doubleheader, the Trojan women's basketball team dominated Arkansas State to get things started in Trojan Arena on Thursday night. Joshua Thomas has the highlights.
Troy women's basketball team took on their Sunbelt rival, the Arkansas State Red Wolves, on Thursday night in a game where they seemed to have control the entire time. The Trojans took off with an early lead and stuck with it. With just a few minutes left in the first quarter, with a score of 19-4, the Trojans would keep the momentum for the rest of the game, never allowing the Red Wolves to gain the lead. Trojan guard Jasmine Robinson says the team was able to get off to such a great start because of their learning from losses.
We were taught things in the past, about how we lose games, and one of them were the start of the game, and we just realized that we had to come out and start a good game to win the game, so we did.
While the Trojans played great offensively and defensively, there was one common problem: turnovers.
But we did show our youth whenever we would turn the ball over. We had 20 turnovers at half. We came in at halftime and stressed that more than anything else, and we only had 4 in the second half, so it shows we can take care of the ball.
The Trojans would continue to show their offensive presence throughout the third and fourth quarter, and the score showed that hard work, with it being 86-64 at one point and ending with a 17-point victory as the Trojans walked away with the win 95-78. This makes the 5th win in a row for the Trojans, and head coach Chandler Wrigley says that it's due to the Trojans' defense.
Yes, the main thing I'm proud of is just the pressure defense. This week, we just started stressing more pressure on the ball and people up in the passing lane, and we really just dialed the right number tonight because this is a very good team we beat, but they couldn't get going because of our pressure.
Joshua Thomas, Trojan Sports Now.
And it was a thrilling finish to the Arkansas State doubleheader in Trojan Arena Thursday night. It was too much action to fill one whole game, so the Trojans took it into overtime.
By an arena, probably thought the game was over, but they never gave up and found a way to come back and really steal one right there.
Those were the words head coach Bill Cunningham used to describe his team after the Trojans found a way to steal an 89-83 overtime victory over Arkansas State Thursday night. After being down 6 with 1 minute and 5 seconds left on the clock, senior Wesley Person did what he does best as he hit 2 3-pointers to add 5 more minutes to the clock to help the Trojans knock off the Red Wolves. After the game, Person said he was ready for that moment.
Her coach called to play for me, and I figured he'd put the ball in my hands, senior leader, and I was ready for the moment, and I, really wanted to help the team win. So when he called to play, and kind of broke down a little bit, and I got a good look at it, pump faked the guy, hit the shot, and just felt good at that moment, tie the game up.
Coach Cunningham also talked about how Wes was able to make that shot that sent the game into overtime.
And that was amazing what he did down the stretch. He had some great looks throughout the entire game. And that last one he hit, he just everybody in the gym knew he was going to shoot it, and he just rose up and made it somehow. But he has the ability to do that, and he's done it for 4 years.
All the momentum the Trojans gained from the final minute carried through to overtime, where Jordan Varnado scored 5 points in the first 3 minutes, leading the Trojans to a 9-0 run. And Cunningham said he had an overall good game Thursday.
I told him it's the most toughness you've shown since you've been here. He was doing a little bit of everything and made some good plays. He hit that first shot in overtime, but defensively, he was guarding a guard most of the night. He was good in all areas, defensively, offensively, rebounding, assists. He had an overall game tonight.
But the game would not have headed to overtime if it had not been for freshman Jamin Johnson's block shot on the other end of the court, and he explained what happened on that play.
Coach had told us in the timeout that when we had on the hip side, we gotta rotate over. So I just rotated over, and I had to do my job and just block the shot.
Right after making a big upset and defeating conference rival and number 2 in the Sun Belt, South Alabama, 81-72, the Trojan women's basketball team did not only celebrate a 4-game winning streak, but their very own point guard, Kayla Robinson, has yet again been named Sun Belt Player of the Week. Head coach Chandler Rigby talks about how proud of the sophomore she is.
We're just so proud of Kayla. 2 weeks in a row being Sun Belt Conference Player of the Week. She's only a sophomore. She's kind of put the team on her back, especially the guard, from the guard position. She's the oldest guard we have out there playing right now, the most mature being a sophomore. But she's just kind of overachieving for what we thought she would be doing at this point.
The countdown for baseball and softball is almost coming to an end, but for true fans, they got a chance to see the players up close this past Saturday. Nick Brooks has the story.
Last Saturday marked Fan Day for the Trojan baseball and softball team, where fans had the chance to interact with both teams by getting autographs and pictures from the players. One fan explains what he likes about Fan Day.
Fan Day is just a great opportunity to meet all the players.
Both baseball and softball head coaches Mark Smart and Beth Mullins speak on the importance of the fans.
Well, the interaction between our players and the fans that are here today is great, but they get to speak to our kids. And when they come support our team in the games, we see them back behind the plate, out in the outfield. They're loud, having a great time, but they don't get the interaction.
Hopefully just, really got to meet our girls, because I tell people all the time they're really who the stars are of our program. I think it just showed, how much support we have. I mean, we had a lot of people there.
With baseball and softball season around the corner, fans came out to enjoy autographs from the players and free hot dogs. Both coaches also talk about the Trojan community support.
We're a small community, and that's the great thing about Troy. I know most of our fans personally, and that's the one unique aspect of our size school.
Troy rallies around their teams, and I think they love baseball and softball.
And Coach Smart had one thing to say to the fans.
Just to thank them. Just for me to say thank you, just to thank people. They get to thank them personally, thank them for their support.
Nick Brooks, Troy, Trojan Vision Sports.
Troy men's tennis team narrowly missed out on getting the first win of the spring season after falling to Elon 4-3 in a neutral site matchup on Saturday afternoon in Jacksonville, Florida. The Trojans had the best singles out of the year as Andy Law earned a hard-fought 6-4 and 7-6 victory in the one spot.
And with a few players out, the Trojan women's tennis team was forced to forfeit on a couple of courts and struggled to gain momentum in the match as the UCF Knights defeated the Trojans 7-0 on Sunday.
Moving along to some great news for the Trojan women's tennis team, senior Nancy Karaki has been selected to represent her home country of Lebanon in the Fed Cup, which will take place in Isay Town, Bahrain. Prior to coming to the States, Karaki was the #1 women's player in Lebanon, and it will be the country's second time appearing in the Fed Cup since 1993. During her 3 seasons at Troy, Karaki has compiled a 38-32 record. Last season, she was named All-Sun Belt doubles first team with partner Sinead Ota. The competition began today and will end on the 10th.
Still to come on Trojan Sports Now, we'll have a preview of the Trojan basketball team's matchup against Little Rock.
But first, Sarah sits down with softball's Cassidy McDilda. Stick around for more Trojan Sports Now.